the Broncos suck. We all know that. We know they're bad. They're 3-8. But you, as somebody that came here before the season, you thought Russ was going to be good. Nobody saw this downfall. You had high hopes for Nathaniel Hackett. Nathaniel Hackett's garbage. The running game is garbage. Russell Wilson's garbage. The defense is good. Now, we know Hackett's getting fired. But if Hackett gets fired, is that fixing Russell Wilson? Where are your thoughts on a Broncos fan? Do you think what's going to fix the Broncos, or are they just stuck?
I don't know if stuck's the word. Because, again, we just acquired a first-round pick for Bradley Chubb. I think that was with the conscious idea that we have struggled so far this season. We still have spots that we need to improve this roster. So they were being proactive in that sense. Now, another thing that we faced, unfortunately, is injuries. We lost Tim Patrick before the season started. Javonte Williams out extremely early into the season. Garrett Bowles is out. Billy Turner's out. Lloyd Cushenberry's out. 3 of the starting 5 O-linemen are out. Now, Jerry Jeudy's missed some time. KJ Hamler's missed time sporadically throughout the season. Russ has not played well at all. And I'm not saying that the injuries are the reason why Russ is playing bad. It's a reason why. I wouldn't go as far to say it's the main reason, because Russ is just missing certain throws that he hasn't missed in the past. Now, but it's not as if it's not things that he hasn't struggled with in the past, at least. Where, again, he has struggled to see the middle of the field. He's continuing to struggle seeing the middle of the field this season. We're not moving the ball downfield, which is shocking, but at the same time understandable, where it's just Cortland Sutton right now on the outside. Tim Patrick, who was also another a deep threat for us, was not available. Jerry Jeudy has been in and out of the lineup, unfortunately, as well. And, yes, Nathaniel Hackett has not been a great play caller, because this is now, I went through A, B, C, D, E before getting to Nathaniel Hackett, who has not been good by any stretch of the means. Right now, the Broncos are on pace to have the worst passing offense, the worst offense in general, since the 2000 Cleveland Browns. We're averaging less than 15 points a game. We've been atrocious on the offensive side of the ball, and it's really sad because the defense has put us in position almost every single week to come out with a win. Now, am I going to write off Russell Wilson? No. But I wanted to make sure I came up here wearing my Denver Broncos jersey, wearing my Peyton Manning jersey, because I want the world to understand that I'm not blindly supporting Russell Wilson. I'm understanding that Russell Wilson has not been good. But I want the world to understand that I have not given up on my boys. I love my Broncos, and I believe that brighter days are ahead of us.
Mm-hmm. Only could be brighter.
What George Patton has done for us, I give him nothing but endless praise. I don't care about signing Russell Wilson prior to the season for $245. Russell Wilson put together 10 seasons of being a Hall of Fame quarterback. I can't blame him for making that decision. A lot of other GMs would have done the exact same thing. No one anticipated Russ having this big of a fall off. I think let's get healthy. Let's make some moves in the offseason. Let's surround Russ with a couple more weapons. Let's get an offensive mind in here. I'm not saying let's go get Sean Payton, but I know Frank Reich's available. We were jokingly talking about it in the car, but I really promise you, if Frank Reich signs as our head coach this offseason, I'm going to be ecstatic, because Russ needs someone that's going to cater to him. Maybe Frank Reich, where he was supposed to have Andrew Luck, that didn't really work out for him. He had to go through a cycle of quarterbacks. None of them really worked out for him. Russell Wilson would be the second best quarterback that he's ever coached. And I say that with respect to Andrew Luck because of how great Andrew Luck was. And Russell Wilson's damn good. Maybe not damn good now, but he has been a Hall of Fame level quarterback. Actually, happy birthday to Russell Wilson. Today's his birthday. Is his birthday, ironically. And he also just threw his 300th career touchdown.
That's
so
good.
where there's negatives, we can also look at some positives.
For sure.
But ultimately, yes, I think the Broncos and Russell Wilson need to be better. I think that without Nathaniel Hackett, we will be better. But for this season, I don't know what can make us better right now.
There's always a scapegoat in disasters. And with all respect, Drew, this season has been a disaster.
The scapegoat's been who?
Nathaniel Hackett.
I disagree.
You don't think so? Who's getting fired and who's not getting
no
traded?
Doubt. Well, one's getting $245.
Exactly.
But even still, it's not a scapegoat. The blame is still going to Russell Wilson.
Yes, but the move the Broncos are going to make in the offseason is moving off Nathaniel Hackett.
Sign me up.
So there always has to be a scapegoat, and I almost feel bad for Hackett in a sense.
What about me?
Drew, you'll live. Because, there's not a lot of coaches get a second chance. There's some, not a lot. There's some Andy Reids, and there's a million Adam Gases, right? Usually when you get that second chance.
Daniel's got a second chance.
I know.
That's crazy.
So
He had
far,
a track record, though.
so far, not great.
Huh?
He had a track record, though.
Of what? Being offensive coordinator next to the best coach of all time?
Well, Mac Jones just had a really good season with him as a rookie. Josh McDaniels is a good offensive
What we're not going
mind.
to talk about is Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson backpacking.
Offense designed by McDaniels.
Because then Josh Jacobs goes, and now he's one
intriguing.
of the best running backs in the league, leading the league in rushing yards.
Hasn't translated.
Maybe
to
he's a
wins,
rushing
sadly.
quarterback,
But
a rushing offensive mind, as
They
opposed to passing.
also, I believe, Josh McDaniels was on the staff when they declined his 5th-year option.
Who's? I'm sorry.
Jacobs.
Yeah, bad move.
I mean, you don't pay running backs. They didn't do that in New England.
No, that's true. But 5th-year option, you're still not paying him.
Yeah,
You know,
you're not.
like it's just an extra year. But I guess you could use the franchise tag and probably pay him around the same. But yeah, as I was saying, to be a head coach, typically, bless you, that first chance is going to matter a ton. That's how you're going to be viewed, whether you like it or not. And Nathaniel Hackett went to a very unique situation where typically when a team fires their coach, they're usually bad. They usually don't have a franchise quarterback. They usually don't have aspirations to win the division and win a Super Bowl. But in this case, Nathaniel Hackett came in with all of these expectations. They came in, seeing Russell Wilson put up MVP numbers just 2 seasons ago. We've seen this Broncos team have one of the best defenses in the league. So he was expected to come in and elevate this offense and just hope the defense can keep up enough because this Broncos was going to be a light show on offense. Unfortunately, that has not happened. And it's not all Hackett's fault. Russell Wilson's completing less than 60% of his passes. This is a Zach Wilson level of completion percentage we're in. He has 7 passing touchdowns on the season. Jamal Williams has more.
Why are you doing this?
It's rude, but it's true. I mean, Russell Wilson has been bad. And
He thought he was be as good as Mahomes.
I thought there was a world where Russell Wilson could have a top 5 season. That's how
Mahomes is 101.
Of course he is, but that's how good Russell Wilson has been in Seattle. And I thought, stupidly, that the Seahawks were holding him back. But in reality, the Seahawks, in a funny way, were elevating Russ by not giving him, it's one season, but it's one disastrous season, and it's the one season,
how
Drew.
many injuries?
It's the
How
one.
many
It's the one
injuries?
season that Russ goes to a new place. The Seahawks get a new quarterback. The Seahawks quarterback is thriving, and Russell Wilson is failing.
There's a brand new fantasy app. It's called Boom Fantasy. You got over-unders, player props. You got matchups. This player versus that player. That's personally my favorite. And long shots. You can win 40 times your money. And if I'm not mistaken, Joel, NBA is coming soon.
Yes, sir. NBA will be in the app in the next 10 days or so. You know, I believe opening night is October 19th, so we'll have stuff up a few days beforehand. That's going to be fun because we have it every night. You don't have to wait till Monday, Thursday.
Did you get your code? For the league pass?
I did get my code.
I
for
got
League
my
Pass.
code too.
Yep, that's amazing.
That's from 2K, right?
Yes.
That's tough.
amazing.
That's fire.
So if you guys haven't already, download the Boom Fantasy app right now. Link is in our description or in the caption wherever you're watching.
Nathaniel Hackett is going to be the scapegoat here. He's going to get fired, and you're going to bring in a Frank Reich, whoever it might be. Sean Payton doesn't seem interested in the position for whatever it's worth.
The prick.
You guys do have, I do like George Patton. I think he's a great
I love
GM.
him.
New
I
ownership
love him.
group who seems very invested in the team. And the roster's solid. Without a doubt, it is solid. You just have Patrick Mahomes in that division. You have the Chiefs with Andy Reid. That it's going to be very
We're gonna
hard
beat it.
to
They've
get
been
past
picked.
every year.
They've been picked.
We're gonna be there.
What do you mean by they've been picked?
They've lost. People have picked them. It's happened.
More often than
But
not,
week to
more
week-
often than not, the Chiefs are going to win.
Week
of
to
course.
week, you know that we got Mahomes.
So you guys are gonna have a new coach. It's disgusting. I'm actually not acknowledging him as a Chiefs fan. He can say whatever he wants. I'm not acknowledging it. But Hackett's gonna get fired. But at the end of the day, if the Broncos want to turn this around, it's gonna be on the shoulders of Russell Wilson. You're getting paid $240 million guaranteed. You got Judy and Sutton with Hamler's there, but you got
Two of the
Pitcher
three
coming back.
are
Javonte,
injured.
okay, but we're talking about next season.
Okay,
This
all right,
season's
all right.
done.
It's a
This
wash.
season's over. We already know that. But now it still relies on Russell Wilson. Because if a new head coach comes in and he sucks again,
I don't
what do
shake
you
your
do?
hand. He's garbage.
what do you do?
Cut him.
You can't.
The dead cap, honestly,
You
we
can't.
might eat it.
You can't. It's multiple seasons of 30, 40 plus million of dead cap.
At year 4, it gets to 31, as low as 31.
Year 4.
Yeah.
This going to be, we talked about it on the Joel Moran show. Shout out, go subscribe there, like his stuff on Instagram. It might be a Jared Goff situation where the Rams had to trade first-round picks to get off of his contract. Now, given they did get Stafford in return, but right now, say for whatever reason, the Broncos wanted to trade Russell Wilson, you have to give up first. You have to give up Russell Wilson and a first-round pick to get something back in return. That's how bad this
Such
contract
low value.
in this
Well,
situation
listen,
is.
nobody
doing
wants Russell Wilson. It's as simple as that.
You guys would kill for him.
I
No.
don't know if he would. I
I'd
don't know
rather
if he
have
would.
Mike White.
I don't know if he would.
Shut up. Shut up
Would you
right now.
I tweeted this. Would you rather have Kenny Pickett or Russell Wilson? No
Kenny
contract.
Pickett.
No
Kenny
contract. Because
Pickett.
everyone's like, oh, contract. No contract. Just pick one quarterback.
God, you just have allowed one horrible season. I won't sugarcoat it. One horrible season to allow you to forget 10 straight years of being a top 7 at worst QB. Can we please?
Drew, you're talking to a guy in Dehls who, after a couple games, forgot about Zach Wilson. I mean, this is what he does. It's what he does. You talked about being
I expected
scapegoated.
better than you, man.
You talked about being scapegoated.
He might turn
Dehls.
around. I won't be surprised. He's good.
Pick a side.
It's funny because I was going through TikTok the other day and I saw this video that Esquire Sports made. Shout out to them. They follow me. I fuck with their stuff. And
Flex that.
in their video, he talked about the Broncos' last drive versus the Panthers.
I watched that video.
And
I
how
saw that
they
video
had
too,
they
yes.
had multiple red zone drives.
I hate him for
Well,
that
they had
video.
It was
they had
hilarious.
they had multiple red zone tries, and Russell Wilson made some good passes, but ultimately they didn't convert because of a penalty or a drop or here and there. And I'm looking through the comment section, and a lot of the comments are like, "It's not even Russell's fault, man.
Real.
It's all this." They're all commenting, and I'm just like, "Did you watch the entire fucking game? I mean, that drive was in garbage time. Who cares? The entire game was
Losing by double
horrible from
digits.
Russ. What we're not about to do is start a narrative that Russ has not been the problem. He's been the biggest problem.
He needs help. Stop.
Nathaniel Hackett, is he a problem? Yes. Is he being scapegoated the most? Yes, deservedly so, because he's not good. 3 years ago, he was the OC for the last place offense Jaguars. He has done nothing to warrant a head coaching job outside of being best friends with Aaron Rodgers. That's why the Broncos got him. That's why I wasn't high on him as a coach to begin with. I didn't think Russell Wilson was
why?
going to fall off. Yes, that's why I was low on
Such a
him.
liar.
That's why I was
You're
low
a
on him.
liar.
What do you mean?
You're a liar.
Get out of here. 1,500 Jerry Judy yards. That's what I heard. That's what I was
I said
hearing at the same.
1250.
You said
I said
15.
1250.
You said 1,500 is
I
out
said
of the realm of
1250.
possibility.
I said 1250.
Yeah, even that
All
is a
right,
stretch.
yeah. Oh,
Even that is
no. Stretch is kind.
Now, Joe, you were right about being scapegoated. Nathaniel Hackett is being scapegoated right now. Zach Wilson in New York. And we look at the Broncos right now. Russell Wilson has been a major problem. 27th in DVOA, 30th in QBR, 28th in touchdowns, 31st in completion percentage. Russell Wilson always struggled throwing to the middle of the field. He didn't want to throw it. He didn't see it. But the mobility was diminishing. And that's why the Seahawks traded him. I mean, this is the perfect stat to show the diminished mobility. He averaged 11.5 less yards per run in 2020 than he did compared to he averaged 11.5 less yards per run in 2021 compared to 2020. Now, throwing on the move in 2020 he was the 11th best. In 2021, it fell to 27th. This season, he ranks 24th. The mobility is shot, and this year he's been the 28th quarterback in QBR on play action, 28th under pressure, 28th in a clean pocket, and 29th against two shell coverage. Russell Wilson was at his best from a statistical and a winning standpoint when the Seahawks had an elite defense. They ran the ball well, and he was able to play off a play action and make a couple
at his
plays.
best statistically was when the defense was trash and he was on the field.
I said statistically and winning wise.
Winning wise, when his defense was amazing for sure. They won a Super Bowl. They went back the year after. Statistically, he was the best when his defense was trash.
The year that 2019 or 2020, I believe, the Russell Wilson half a MVP season that he had.
11 games.
In the second half of the year, they got figured out because teams started playing two shell coverages on them more. And I said this the first game of the season after that embarrassing loss to the Seahawks. Russell Wilson is a quarterback whose mobility has diminished. He never liked throwing to the middle of the field. That's a staple of Hackett's offense. It doesn't work out at all. Not only that, but when you're such a great deep ball passer like Russ is, and this year Russ has still been a great deep ball passer, but he struggles intermediately. He struggles in the quick passing game. He's struggling now out of structure as well. When you're reliant on passing the ball deep and defenses have changed their philosophy to now covering that and making that a point of emphasis, a quarterback like Russell Wilson, whose play style thrives off that, is going to naturally decline. We've seen quarterbacks in the past decline massively. Carson Palmer went from an MVP candidate to the next year we were like, what is this guy? He's an interception machine. Brett Favre went from that in Minnesota.
He was also how old?
They were older, but with Russell Wilson, and it's the difference, those quarterbacks were not mobile quarterbacks. They were pocket quarterbacks. Russell Wilson, a lot of his game is his mobility. He has never been a quarterback that just stays in a pocket and can be comfortable in it and just pick apart surgically a defense. He's been someone that play action boots, get out of structure, feel this pressure. I'm fast enough to evade this defender. He's just not that anymore. And that's why I think the Broncos are stuck. Now, will bringing in a head coach help? I think it'll help slightly. The injuries are a real thing. If the Broncos can get a running game, they can get a head coach. They can be a competent offense, and Russell Wilson only has to make a couple plays a game for them to win. But you paid Russell Wilson to be a franchise guy. I don't know if Russell Wilson will ever get to the top 8 status again, top 10, top 8 status again. I think he can be a game manager, but you didn't pay him to do that. And this contract and this trade is going to go down as one of the worst all time in NFL history.
What do you want me to say? I mean, really, what do you want me to say?
The only thing I will say is even when you had your whole assortment of weapons,
you were trash.
The offense still wasn't great. Like Russ was definitely better. Like week 1 against Seattle, he had 340.
He was great.
The
team lost in that one. Russ didn't lose that game.
Against the Raiders, 240, 2 touchdowns, 68%. Like he had a couple of games when you had the assortment of weapons there, but still overall for what you traded for, I mean, he has one game of multiple touchdowns.
And the offensive line was supposed to be better. It hasn't been.
Losing Bowles is huge. I mean, he's one of the best left tackles in football last season.
And Lloyd definitely is a bright spot in the offensive line. It hurts. It hurts.
Listen, it's
tough times being a Broncos
I'm very
fan,
torn
man.
because I really can't remember the last time I've seen a quarterback be great and then terrible. Even Peyton Manning, there was a reason he was hurt, right? I really can't remember off the top of my head, like, who is the comp for this? That's why it's very hard for me. Like, I know I kind of just shit on him this whole time, but
is it Eli the closest one? But even still, I feel like that's situational.
Yeah, I agree.
Like Phillip Rivers wasn't bad, never really declined like that.
What faith, I'm sure I'll have very different answers here. 10 being Russell Wilson will be a top 10 quarterback again. 1 being he'll be off the team in a year or two. Where do you sit on Russ? Do you think he'll turn it around next year? Do you think he could end up being that guy again? Or is this just who Russ is now?
I'll let you answer first.
I think he'll turn it around slightly.
So where you like a 5? Like 5, I guess, is a game manager.
I think he'll be a top 20-ish quarterback.
Okay, so like a 4 or 5.
Yeah. I want to say if he's going to be top 10, he's going to have to be 10 flat because there are a lot of great quarterbacks in the league. Because we're seeing the ascension of Tua. We're seeing the ascension of Jalen Hurts.
Can't sleep on Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence is another one. K1's outside of the top 10.
Or Mac Jones.
A lot of people didn't have Deshaun Watson in their top 10s coming into this year due to situation. Dak probably is in that conversation as well, being a top 10 fringe, top 10 for sure. Did I mention K1 already? Kirk Cousins. That's.
I mean, yeah, the list goes on.
Let's not.
There's a lot of good quarterbacks.
I'm gonna leave Kirk out of this conversation with all due respect. I think that my confidence in that is probably a 5 as well.